I wish you guys the best with your Yum Yum podcast.
Howdy, Ryan.
Howdy, Rachel.
Were you expecting that?
I was not. You've shocked me so much that I've gone into labor. Help me, Rachel. You have little hands. They can get the baby out of there. That was a plot point in this episode.
Mm-hmm. It was.
You need those little hands up in there. Was the performer, the actor of Zeph, just from your eyeballing it? Do they look like they have little hands?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
They're the littlest of this crew.
yes.
I don't know. I mean, Dutch's hands maybe, but I don't know. Hers are punching someone. She's too busy punching.
Yeah, she's busy.
She's busy.
She's busy, and this is a busy episode of Killjoys.
So we better get to it.
You don't want to explain Yum Yum first?
I did it last time. I think you should do it this time.
Oh, I meant in the because you were like, let's get straight to it, and I was like, you want to skip Yum Yum?
You know what? I'll allow it, but I feel like you want to.
I want to skip, sure. So we're covering a episode of Killjoys, the television series. I have not watched it before. Ryan has. We are now at the point where he was watching it episode by episode, week to week.
Live, as they say back in the day.
Mm-hmm. And it's a weird spot that we're in because things are changing, but also things are the same. And there's revelations, but there's more questions. And we'll get into it. But first, Ryan is going to summarize the episode in his own words because
Yes.
we didn't get any summaries with the physical media that we purchased, and IMDb ones aren't as good.
If it was up to me, Rachel, if they asked me, Ryan, we're going to release Killjoys on physical media, what should we do? Here are the 3 things I would list. Okay?
Remove that logo.
Get rid of the Sci-Fi Channel original logo that pops up during the episode. I own it on physical media, I know. I can accept it when you're streaming it off their sites, but not when I bought this. We're beyond that time now. The second thing would be, of course, give us little booklet with, or even just in the sleeve of the case, give us the episodes and little descriptions. I love those. Heck, give us a good interactive menu. Would love one of those. Give us a commentary track. Some special features. These would be lovely things. But the most important thing, Rachel, is I think that and this is maybe beyond physical release, but they could have fixed it. Change the theme song. Maybe keep the cartoon, but change the song. Because
for different seasons.
Today we are looking at and discussing episode 4 of season 4.
What to expect
when you're expecting an alien parasite. There's an ellipses, everyone. There is an ellipses. And this episode's very dramatic, very intense. And the cold open of it is so jam-packed that it cannot help but be undercut dramatically.
Is that your Yum Yum laugh?
By the opening credits music going, ooh, ooh. I mean, it's hard to say if it is. It's more of a disappointment, but it's just baked into the show. But that's getting into the critiques. Let's get into the summary of what to expect when you're expecting an alien parasite. Del Sayer is giving birth, but everything is going wrong. Dutch has returned from the green space, but everything is solid. Johnny is losing his humanity and his Hullenness. Meanwhile, you have to have a meanwhile.
There we are. I was about to say that's not the end of it because you haven't done a meanwhile.
Dav is having his terrible, no good, very bad day. You laughed when I did it in the reaction. You laughed when I put it in the notes, and you laughed when I said it again, and that's why I'm doing it. This podcast really exists because Rachel and I are a married couple who love science fiction television, but really, it's about me making Rachel smile. She thinks that it's me torturing her with random things we say and do on the podcast, like covering Star Trek Discovery on the occasion, or...
On the occasion!
It's over now.
On the occasion!
Or do you want to rewatch it and do it full force?
No.
There you go. But we are brave.
At what point
and
will Star Trek Discovery
yeah.
not make up the majority of our main feed
Oh,
coverage?
it doesn't make it up at all. It's not even close. Not even close. The majority of our main feed coverage is
B5?
Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Duh.
I was just like, wait, as soon as I said it, I was like, well, no, it probably never did.
And Killjoys would be next
like once
to...
we started doing more than one show.
And when we finish Killjoys, this will be like the close to Discovery. I think it's only like a few episodes off.
Yeah.
Like they don't have... They're both 5
No.
seasons. But this one has consistently 10 episodes. Discovery had 15, 12, 8. Like, it goes all over. But something that's very important here, Rachel, that we like to say up top, is that Killjoys has a very specific sense of humor that it likes to bring in. And you are asking if the undercutting from the opening credits is my yum yum laugh.
Mm-hmm.
See, yum yum is a moment from Star Trek Discovery that's very funny. And so we like to look at the funny moments of this series, Killjoys. And for me, personally, I found a lot of humor to be had from many things in this episode because it is funny, but surprisingly stripped back. But the things that were funny were consistent throughout the episode. Like Del Sayer's attitude throughout the entire episode until she hits like the realization that things aren't going to work out for her is really funny. Like I loved when they're trying to do the C-section on her. And she has like the blanket up,
The
like
comic.
and she's reading the comic and Davin's just talking to her and she's like, shut up. I loved that. But if I
Her
had to-
annoyance at Davin in particular this episode was so high. And
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed the way that was played.
And that like comic book callback, that was absolutely my favorite, my big yum yum laugh. But I will give a shout out to Johnny breaking his own neck and then afterwards saying that he wouldn't do it again. He's had enough of it now. He got his fill. And I thought that was wonderful too.
My yum yum is after he's broken his neck, he's like, can I have a mint?
He's got a bad taste in his mouth.
Yeah.
The Hullen is in his mouth, I guess. The taste of death. So that was your yum yum laugh?
Yeah. But like that, looking back at my notes, I'm just like, that one, it just makes me smile. I don't think it was my biggest laugh during the reaction, but it is the one that stands out.
Killjoys loves to include the word bitch in every episode. You know
Bar
it.
one.
Yeah, every season 2 and 3 had one episode each that didn't. So bar 2.
Sorry.
Ba. That's what you need to say. And this
Baba
episode,
the elephant?
Yes, Baba the elephant. Baba is his name. Actually, get it correct. He's a king, Rachel.
Oh, I can't disrespect him.
And you know what is for kings?
Context.
And the context of what we're doing here is we're discussing how many drops of the word bitch was there in this episode. How many do you think? And please consider how the bitch count has been going this season so far. Do you think it deviated? Do you think we've had less, more?
It won't be
Same?
as high as episodes without nut shots because that's now 22.
Imagine if this episode had 22 bitches dropped. That would be insane.
I think it had 3.
Very close. It was 2. It was 2.
I
They've been playing
was tempted
safe.
to say 2 because it 2's in 22.
This is very safe this season. They're still including it, but they're keeping them lowball. I hope they increase them, but they're lowballing.
Was it Dutch and Pre?
Yep. Yeah. Pre was not having it this episode
No.
at all.
I assume it was in regards to Dulcea.
Oh yeah. He's very
had
unhappy.
beef with Dulcea this episode, and I loved it.
My baby's trying to split me in half, and you're offering me ice chips?
Sweetheart, you stabbed one of my dearest friends in my bar. And as soon as that baby's out of your entitled belly, I'll be happy to return the favor. Until then, ice chip?
So we do have a returning writer, and it's
director.
our favorite, and our returning director, Stefan, is back in the chair. This week on Killjoys, they decided to hand it off to the two presumably Polish people. Or two very European named people. We have Nicoline back. She was here last season to do The Wolf You Feed, one of the greatest episodes of the show.
Absolutely.
And she was a new writer then. That was her first episode. This is her second episode. And I am still blown away that she is handed the biggies. Like, she comes in halfway through the show. She
makes it look easy.
Makes it look fucking easy. She can spin all of these plates in an episode and maintain them for the most part, and then walk out like nothing happened.
A long list of credits either.
No.
It like I think she has less than 20 on IMDb.
She has like more producing roles of note.
Yeah,
less writing.
Less than 20 writing credits.
Yeah, but she's, she does have a connection. Her sister is like one of the main producers since the beginning of this show, or relatively. But still, even with all that said and done, this episode is the one where everything shifts and everything is moving forward. And even beyond that, there's just so many little plots happening at the same time, and we're all crammed in for the most part in the one location. For the most part,
cluttered the way that a Love Letter episode used to be.
No, I don't know how they managed to achieve that. I think it's just it takes a step back on the tonal stuff as well, because yes, this episode had humor to it, but for the most part, it knew when to leave that at the door.
Yeah, it balances all of those spinning plates amazingly.
Overall, it sounds like we're very positive on this episode. Would you
Yes.
agree? What are your general takes on it? Your first kind of thoughts?
It was really fucking good. I enjoyed watching it. I'm looking forward to watching the next episode. And it is one of those times where I am somewhat forced to appreciate taking breaks between episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mentioned this a lot, I think, in the Babylon 5 coverage of how having usually like a week or at least a couple of days in between watching each episode changes things. And obviously doing the podcast as I'm watching it for the first time is a different thing as well, that makes me stop and appreciate and think about things in a different way than if we were doing it just like if we were just watching it for watching it.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So you're talking about the week to week stuff, because for us watching and discussing this show, we are doing it week to week. In like
But
the
also
behind the scenes of our podcast, we are going week to week with our watch and
these-
discussions of it. It just
These
works
last
for how we do
two
things.
episodes have been more serialized than a lot of the previous plots have been. This episode really has nothing that is independent from the bigger plot. It's all through lines. Like, yes, this is the episode where Dulcea gives birth, but that matters because of this thing that happened, and Porter, and this and that and this and that.
Yeah, it all
And all of
weaves
these
together.
people having different desires and motivators and inputs and outputs.
And there's different problems on the ship itself to deal
Yes.
with. It's not just this one
No,
problem.
like all of these things are going on. All of these plates are being spun. And it's just amazing to watch. And I think that if I binged it, I wouldn't appreciate the level of skill that is required in making this look easy.
There is a change this season. You do feel like they are...
It's a shift.
Yeah.
And it's palpable through the plots, but it's expressed through the characters as well. Because even the way that this episode refers back to Porter's death is so different than Johnny's vengeance arc and him dealing with that. Even though the source of that pain is the same moment, it is expressed and dealt with in a very different way and for a different purpose.
And from a different person. That is the main driver of it too. And we have that with so many things in this episode. There's lots of calling back to things, but there's so much setting up and furthering of things to come in the series overall. And not all of it works. Okay? Like in this episode, like I said, some things could be snipped from it. Turin, for example, is in this episode. And it really bums me out that he's in this episode because we are on Lucy. We are on that ship. And we don't know what's happening in the world outside of that. You really get the sense of this being the closest Killjoys has gotten to a bottle episode. They are in one location. They are crammed. You just hear Johnny's head banging against the wall over and over and over again in the background of other scenes. Like, that's how well done this is. So, cutting away to Turin on his ship with the dolls and whatnot, just so that you can establish that that's a threat that will matter next week or later in the series, it takes the air out of the balloon in a way.
Yeah, it definitely feels like we've got to water this. We've got to acknowledge that the dolls have shifted and the rack ship has disappeared elsewhere.
Yeah, we have to know that they have done it on purpose. You know, and we aren't allowed to be in the full headspace and knowledge of our main characters, which is they don't know what's happened to their friends.
No.
And they're fearful of it. But no, we cut over to Turin and we know things are relatively okay, or we know stuff. And it just, I don't know, it just reduces it a bit. And this is the byproduct of what we're talking about, of you have to do these things so that you are propping up future stories.
Yeah. It's not because it belongs here. And that is just something that you do have to put up with when a show becomes more serialized. Those moments that stick out. And it is much better to have a moment than a plot. Like, I'm grateful that they don't have more scenes with Turin. They don't cram that in. They don't add that in or take away from something else to give us that. They give us that one scene.
Yeah.
Basically,
the one big thing that matters.
Yes.
I had a problem with it more than you did, but you had a bigger problem with what they're doing with Pippin in terms of we're clearly teeing stuff up.
Like I gotta say, my yum yum laugh almost went to eerie whispers. Because I lost my shit at that moment. Because it was so fucking stupid to me. Like, it's one thing to have a weird sound effect and weird whispering in the audio mix It's another to see the closed captioning of that. And it cutting to him in the cockpit of Lucy, and it comes up with eerie whispering. Was just, oh, it was just divinely stupid to me. Like, I understand why, but it just, oh.
Why does this not work for you, other than you just find it on surface level stupid?
Yeah. So, like, that, there's that level, because it's like, okay, we're gonna set this up to be a thing later. But they haven't clarified any of the rules around what this is, what it might be. But I'm meant to be scared.
He's compromised, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
We haven't moved forward. We've just been
No.
given the same information
It's
for a
the
few episodes in a row.
same thing. Well, this has a little bit more, doesn't it? Like, it's like, do this, hack the ship, or whatever it said.
I guess. Yeah.
Like, it seems to be giving him instructions in some capacity, and that is growing louder in his brain over time, is the way that I'm reading it, because, like, the last episode, like, it was just more of the whispering, or, like...
Oh, he had physical
Yeah.
communications. His fingers
Like, it wanted him to touch something or do something.
no, he was looking at the robotic spider, and they were twitching in, like, a binary kind of rhythm type thing. It was interesting. But, like, again, your frustration is clear in the terms of this is clearly just we're giving you this idea that he's compromised, but we aren't doing anything big with it in this episode.
Thing to do of, like, oh, we're gonna have a little moment.
Well, he has to do stuff in the episode too.
But it also feels like they want a creepy moment or a moment of tension in each of these episodes. So it's like, oh, we'll put Pippin's bit here.
What are you doing?
Hey, what are you doing here? I thought you were, like, grounded or something.
Pip?
Right.
I make the joke of Davin's terrible, no good, very bad day, but it's truly effective. Like, we open up with him basically doing his captain's log equivalent, like him just going through the list of problems that he has in front of him and coping with it the way he can, just, like, telling himself that everything's okay, as we are shown that everything is far from okay.
And I enjoyed that quite a bit. Usually I get frustrated by those things of, like, the log saying one thing and the visuals that we are seeing in the flashbacks are saying another. And because the purpose here is to show Davin's struggle and his struggle to deal with what's going on, including what's happening with Dutch, and trying to connect to her and find a way to pull her out of wherever she is.
He's trying to be supportive. He's trying to be the leader. He's trying to be inquisitive. He's trying to be commanding. But with all of those things, he is out of his depth, because with each one of those things he's trying to do, he's being denied it from the circumstances, from the other characters.
And you're on that journey with him the whole way through. And that helps this episode keep clarity. Because we start with Davin and we return to Davin over and over again. And his perspective really anchors this episode.
Because everything is his problem. He is having to be the stressed out man who's running from plot point to plot point to plot point, hoping that he can do something. And with each one, it feels like he's failing, but somehow he manages to get through it. And it's really good. Like, it's really good stuff. Like, this episode is like the Dulcea gives birth episode, but when you're actually watching it and thinking about it, it's like, no, this is really the Davin has to do his best episode.
Davin becomes a dad.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? Like, from his point?
I really enjoyed the way that he is struggling to deal with everything. And it's sort of the last thing on his mind is actually thinking about, how do I be a dad to this thing that may be the end of all of humanity?
Dutch returned from the green space, and in so doing, she has made all of the plasma solid.
Crystallized.
And that's a big problem. That's a big, big problem because, one, they don't know how she did it. She doesn't know either. We don't know at the beginning, we don't know how far spread it is. Then we find out it's basically the entire J has this issue, or at least all of the stuff that Johnny mapped out is the problem. And that's something to contend with in the episode. That becomes a big deal because of what's happening with Johnny. But in terms of just Dutch's return and her being thrown into the middle of all of this chaos and then trying to assume authority again, even though no one knows if she is a danger herself, also was really fascinating to see play out, because she does not want to spend the time to talk and explain. She's just going to do things. She's like, my actions will speak louder than any words, but the problem is we don't know your intent is really the issue here.
Dutch clearly doesn't understand what happened. She understands that she needs to talk to Johnny. That's the thing that she's sure about. And then the full revelation that she was given before leaving the green space sort of doled out to us slowly. And then a carcass is dropped. Several corpses, I should say, along with a visual of that situation that was shared with her by the lady.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the evil timeline, the dark future of things. If we don't win, this will happen to us.
Everybody's gonna die at the Royal.
From Johnny. Who's Johnny? Yeah, lots of teasing stuff. And how do you feel about the Dutch stuff? Because there is the interpersonal drama, but it is also playing on the mystery.
It worked fairly well for me. There were moments that I was frustrated that she wasn't being more upfront, because she clearly knew more than she was saying. But it felt more they were holding back for plot reasons, not Dutch was holding back for a reason.
I can understand that. But she is thrown off by so much that's happening, even outside of Johnny losing his mind.
Lucy lies to her.
Lucy lying, Johnny losing his humanity, Dulcea being here, and Dulcea giving birth. Dulcea giving her a weird look because, oh, that's right, I look like her lover.
Yeah.
My sister, mother. But even coming out of the green, she doesn't fully understand what that means and the ramifications that are so far spread with the goo becoming solid now. Mm-hmm. Which, that's an interesting turn of events as well, of, okay, now we've neutralized the big MacGuffin of the show.
Yep.
The green goo has been the thing of...
It's halted.
It's halted. And I personally think that's a wise narrative choice, because do you want this show to be the green goo show? Too much. It's become... how do you feel about the plasma overall? Like how it's been utilized in the series? Like, have they kept it to an understandable point? Have they spread it out too much? Like, because it does so much.
It does. It does. The thing that I am like, why haven't they used this more? Is Davin's powers over the goo? It's like, but you have like a nuclear bomb in your arsenal.
They use it on the occasion.
They sparingly use it because it's too much of a trump card, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, they went from
it feels sort of like the machine that gives and takes life in B5, where they realized if they had it around the whole time, it would just be too powerful.
Oh, I was thinking the Great Machine on Epsilon 3 in Babylon 5, where that's like also... where they have to narratively come up with reason. Oh, we can't get in communication with it down there because it's Deus Ex Machina. That's why.
Yes.
But no, your point stands. I do think what they did was, in retrospect, I think that what they failed at from the beginning was Dav's powers, when we were first shown them, was to neutralize the green, where
now
Klein,
it's more explosive?
Yeah, now it's weaponizing it. Like, Klein didn't have his healing factor.
No.
Things like that. And it's like, okay, use that now, but, you could argue because of the special circumstances of him being experimented on, that's why that happened. But, I think if it was it would be handled differently with where the series has gone now.
Like, why? Can you imagine if instead of a blood transfusion, it was Davin had to cuddle Dulcea from behind the way that like a birthing partner would?
Oh, she would hate that.
But like him being physically close and hand on the belly.
Oh, she would hate that.
If that was their attempt to like reduce her,
they tried
greenness.
They tried to do the hand holding, and she wasn't even having that.
No, but like instead of blood transfusion, if it was a cuddle situation.
Oh, she's such a big lesbian. I think she would rather take a knife to the brainstem than a man holder.
I feel like we should say something. Should I say something?
Yes, because it's always about the father.
Should I? Do you want to hold my hand, or?
No, not unless you want to lose it.
I just know this can be a difficult time.
Can you give him drugs, please?
We've been dancing around it, Rachel. This is yet another episode in which Aaron Ashmore can do a showcase of playing a manic, psychotic, malevolent, but also wounded Johnny Jacoby. And we were talking about in our reaction that it has been good the way that the series has been handling Johnny's psychosis, because it's been a different flavor in each one, but it's been staying true to itself. And what I really think was apt in this episode was we're now seeing that Johnny is going through a real Jekyll and Hyde situation, and that is what's driving him insane. Of he can not be one or the other. He's flicking between both modes simultaneously, and both the human version of himself and the Hullen version of himself want it to end.
I'm not as heartbroken by that now, because we get the ending that we do. Like, that moment, I was sold on it. And I truly believe that he would break his own neck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't question that. So like, it plays out really well. But I'm really curious to see how you felt about it, because you're rewatching it.
Oh, it was great. I really liked the ambiguity. I felt more ambiguity than you did about how much of the vile things he is saying is from the Hullen side and how much of it is actually how Johnny feels deep down. Because so many of the things he says in this episode are things we've seen him express in the past, but in his nicer way. But why I say that, like, you could easily say, well, obviously it's the Holland side, but where the point of this episode is both versions of himself have been whittled down so much, and then such agony and such despair that even the more mannered side of his manic side is no longer there, and that goes with his regular personality. So I really liked how that was portrayed and just woven throughout the episode as well, because he knew exactly what things to hit Dutch with, but then there were moments where he just said something or did something very offhandedly that really got to Dutch, and you could tell like that. Oh, that wasn't like a tactic on his part. That was just a reaction he had, and it really got her.
Yes, and that makes it more painful to watch, because you can question, where is that coming from? And for me, I didn't feel the ambiguity as much as I felt there was a grain of truth in every manipulation.
Yeah.
There was a feeling that was at the root of all of what he was saying. And that was enough to keep me well and truly invested.
We have had a little bit of a running gag in our podcast and in our reactions, and just you and I when talking about Killjoys. But I think it's fair to address it head on, because this is what the plot is doing, which is Johnny must suffer. It's become a trend in the show.
Your mantra.
The mantra. And is it lazy? Is it cheap? Is it just easy drama? Are they relying on it too much? Or do you find that it is working?
It is working for me overall, because to a different extent, in different ways, all of these characters are suffering. Dutch is still, in lots of ways, reeling from the revelation of what she is, but also now having gone from I need to kill Anila and myself to we're working together against an even greater evil. Like, what is my life?
She's still
How do I protect the people that I love anymore? Davin has become a dad to an alien parasite, according to the title of this episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, don't even forget that she has daddy issues.
Yeah, but it feels more with Johnny, because he had something and he lost it, and it's just gotten worse from there.
Yeah. I think that they're doing a good enough job with it, but I do feel the hands of the show just puppeteering things a little to this direction, because when we started, it was Davin must suffer. Mm-hmm. Davin must suffer. And they've backed off on that, and they've taken a different direction with him, in which his suffering is a different type of pronounced.
But also when Johnny suffers, Davin suffers, Dutch suffers.
Yes.
So it feels more milked in a way because of that, because they explore those other ways. Whereas with Davin and Dutch, their suffering doesn't impact the other two members in the same sort of way.
Yes, but
because Johnny's the glue.
But to counter or to kind of argue a different point that does lean into that, Davin and Dutch have lived hard lives and they've done things. So when we put them through a tragic circumstance, yes, there's pathos and drama and all of that stuff. However, Johnny is like a puppy. And isn't it sad when we kick a puppy? And we keep kicking it each season. And Aaron Ashmore's got that sweet face. And how about we beat it up? I do get that sensation a little bit in terms of this. But I bring it up because this episode is saying we're putting we're putting this down now, okay? We did the Hullen Johnny arc for a few episodes, and now Johnny's back to being Mr. Smiley, Mr. Funny. He literally broke his neck and died. But now he's cleansed, and the cleansing method is just so... I don't even know how I feel about that, because, like, how hung up are you on the lore of this show? Because I feel like in season 2, when we had Sabine, this method would have been said as a thing that wouldn't work. You know, like, I feel like they've come around and like, we have to be able to cleanse them without doing it in that really specific, annoying way that it worked for Fancy. Because we've come up with a plot. So how about we can drain it out of them now, basically? And I don't know if I buy it.
We need a solution to solve specific cases of being Hullen, or in part Hullen in Johnny's case. And it serves that purpose well enough. And it doesn't make sense for broader application the way that poisoning the pools does. It's serviceable, but it feels mechanical.
It's a way to get to an end point. We need Johnny to be fixed up, and we need to change where Dulcea has been at. We need to literally humanize her, as well as humanize her as a person. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it does annoy me, because it's like we've seen in other episodes when they die, the Hullen, the green is still in them. It's still a thing inside of them.
Yeah, but it's like, tap that spinal cord and get it drained out.
Yeah. Like, remember the monks?
And it's like, all of those bits are there, but it still feels like, okay, I'll go along with it, but I won't like it.
See, I much prefer, like, when they go into the weird byproducts and side effects of being a Hullen. Dulcea being pregnant is not something that they do. So what are the downsides of being a Hullen and being pregnant? I mean, just in general, pregnancy comes with many, 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 many problems along the way you can have, right? Like, you know, Rachel, you're all into looking at pregnancy stuff and looking at all of this and like, oh, you can get diabetes, you can get this.
Gestational diabetes.
Yeah, see, you know what I mean. Now imagine if you're Hullen. What kind of diabetes would you get from that? You know what I mean? Like, I like that this show is like, okay, we have her.
I do really love the touch of the baby is growing so big inside of her, it can't come out of the birth canal.
Because her adrenaline as well, they mention, it's like, oh, it's probably because
it's accelerating.
It's accelerating your healing factor and accelerating the kid's growth. This is much more of the intrigue for me.
That's weird science fiction shittery that I can get behind.
You have that magic pony repulsion skill with plasma. I've been reading John's files on Sabine.
Wait, who?
Hullen sleeper agent. I weakened her Hullen side.
Did you literally bore her into wishing she could die?
Actually, he banged the green out of her.
Sex does sometimes help with labor.
Oh, okay. No.
So Dulcea is giving birth for this entire episode, and it's not an easy birth.
Nope. And the complications are from her being Hullen, and the solution is to not make her Hullen anymore. And the journey to that point is earned. Like, I might not like the way that they get there, but the process of figuring out all of these problems with this stage of her pregnancy and her frustration and arrogance about it.
They don't give birth. They give that to other people.
No, crushies don't push.
It's called labor for a reason. Oh, nice one. But you've been sitting on that for a while. Yeah, she is, you know, we have the little running thing of her denying help, denying physical contact, and we see her have to relinquish those things and realize that she does need those things and that she's afraid.
She surrenders.
Yeah, she surrenders and that
that
she's
is not a
scared.
position that she likes to be in at all.
She likes to be in control. She likes to be the top dog. And this episode is about how she is unable to have that. Down to seeing Dutch, and it makes her feel something that she doesn't want to feel. Down to giving birth. Oh, I don't want to have to do all this physical stuff. And then once she accepts she has to do it and she can't do it because of her true dream of being an immortal, it's like, oh, crap, what am I going to do now? And it's not just like, oh, the problems of it all. You do see her go on this emotional roller coaster ride.
It is interesting how this episode manages to take you on this journey with so many of these characters all contained in this one place, right? Like, Davin is our through line. Like, we start, we continue with him. But feeling and understanding Dulcea the way that you do in this episode is such a striking strength of the show.
Yeah, it is one of the big things. You're not going to be shocked to hear, but Dulcea is one of the most popular characters of this series, of course. It's clear. Like, they write for her. It's clear that they know that as well, and so they're tapping into it. And this is a tricky thing to pull off because she's done many horrendous things, not just implied, like we've seen her do them. She is capable of so much evil, and she is unabashed about it. She does not feel bad. And you have to ride that tricky line of like, well, how do you have this character be in the show and not just the villain? But also, you don't want them to be complete 180. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want them to be, well, yeah, they committed mass murder and they killed one of your favorite characters, but they're our friend now. It's like, no, that's, you have to find a middle ground.
It's weird that you say that, because it weirdly reminds me of a character, but I can't quite think of their name.
Oh, Georgiou?
Oh, you got it.
We've mentioned that before.
I know.
Well, no, there's a difference, though. Georgiou, all of her horrible acts were off screen, like before we met her. And then we saw some, but not the fullest extent. We just got told about them.
Our characters weren't her victims.
The difference is we see Dulcea do all of the terrible things, and we have to live with that. And then the show is still looking at us in the eye and saying, feel for her. And that's a dangerous thing to do. Like, and does it pull it off? Like, this is the episode in which I said they humanize her. And you see her feel fear and sadness and a connection.
I understand her, but I do not feel sorry for her. I understand the vulnerability and why she is so uncomfortable. But I do not feel like, I wish she wasn't here. I wish I wasn't like this.
It's difficult, isn't it? Even if you remove what we know of her personality, her actions, it's hard to feel sorry for a person getting stripped of their immortal god powers. Like, it's hard to shed a tear for that. It's like, okay, I don't care about that, you losing that. And that's the thing I want to really...
The world's probably better off without you being Helen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And that's the thing.
How are we going to deal with that?
Like, I'm really wrestling with it in this episode of how much do you feel like the show itself is wanting you to actually feel for her in that way? Because it does.
Oh, yeah, you recognize it as a loss. That is very clear. And I understand her feelings on it. But I'm not too sure how exactly the show wants me to be positioned. And I feel like the show probably wants me to feel more empathy for her than I do.
But then they flag up the things. Pre looks her dead in the eyes and reminds you that she brutally gutted Potter in his bar. And they remind you that he was the person who knew her the longest out of all of our characters, that he was her friend and she was his. So they don't shy away from the ugliness of this character, from the villainy of this character, and yet they're still wanting you to feel for her. And I don't know. Like, I felt for her in season 3, in a way, in a manner. Like, she was humbled. She was thrown into a situation in which she was stripped of all of her powers, but now we're at a point where she has been around and she got given what she wanted. Power, immortality, she's found love. And now we're supposed to feel sad because she doesn't have those powers anymore. And she now has a child. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm iffy. Like, and I want to know your opinion too, Rachel. Do you feel, because I know you get upset with this, they try to humanize her because she's a mum. She gave birth.
I do get annoyed by that. It's a frustrating shorthand that they try and pull a surprising amount in media. And I feel like they play into that more as a joke when she's just like, oh, my child. Oh, it started to cry.
I don't want this anymore. Yes, give it to someone else. The father, I guess. Yeah, like, that's what I wanted to hear from you because it's so true.
She wouldn't want the messy. She wouldn't want the loud. She's not an unconditional person in any regard, let alone love.
It's something to keep an eye on of how this show wants us to feel about Dulcea, because they've been masters at making you want to hate her.
Yes, and they are doing a contrasting thing with Anila, because our feelings on Anila have changed a lot in the last couple of episodes.
This writer was the one that made it happen too.
Yeah, there is a humanizing of Anila, a softening to her. And a huge part of that is the revelation that Anila is protecting Dutch and protecting everybody from the lady and willing to die for that to be the case.
When it was last season, it was the humanizing thing was the further understanding that she's a victim of Klein as well, that her insanity, her mania is brought about from the goo, but also this generational abuse, and on it goes. Like, it doesn't justify it, but it does help contextualize it, right? It helps us understand her a little bit better. But in this season, yes, they're going further with it, in which she is an enemy, but she's also responsible for everything that's gone on, and so she feels the pull of responsibility, and that she has to step up and help Dutch, even though she also wants to kill Dutch because they're enemies, but they're not. They're the same person, but they're not.
You shouldn't be doing this on your own, Yala. I didn't give you life just so you can throw it away. It's you. It's really you.
The lady is here, Rachel. How about you tell us all about the saga of the lady and what's happening in the green space?
Dutch's face.
And Anila's face.
And Anila's face.
And Klein's face. Everyone's faces.
She gets to try out everybody. Which is why we get the weird voices. So there's a weird sort of time loopy thing happening with Dutch and the lady, and I don't quite understand.
It's all memories.
The logic of it, but you know. I don't know. I understand the feeling of it. It feels lynchy in that way.
Well, there you go. That's what you need.
Everybody needs a little bit of Lynch.
Just every show needs a little Lynch in there. Just a little bit. Yeah, this has a Twin Peaks feel.
Yes. So you always come back here, which is the point where Dutch is in the ground, being attacked, having been attacked, dying, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady wants to understand how Dutch sort of has the abilities that she has, because she wants Dutch to show her the way out of the green space.
It's a bit that
she wants out, but she also wants to understand the missing piece. But like that's what we kind of get later, because we get the initial thing of she wants to understand Dutch, and then she breaks Dutch, and they keep on revisiting Johnny and that story, because that is what Klein
told her.
And there is something there that the lady cannot understand, so she's torturing Dutch to try and figure this out.
Yeah, and her method of torture is to like trap her in all of her worst memories ever.
And show her possible futures.
And beat the shit out of her too.
There's
lots of kicking.
All of it.
Because she doesn't understand Dutch. Dutch is the missing piece of her existence, because the lady, we find out, is ancient. The
Hullen are just tools.
Yeah, they're just like a tool that she uses to interact with the outside world, is what you get the feeling of. Same with the spiders, I guess. I don't know. But like with the plasma, it's like, I made the plasma so that it can infect living beings outside, so that I can control them. And then they give me all of their memories, so I have information. And information is power, you see, and memory is power. And the problem is, Dutch, you exist outside of my memories because you have been cut out. Because Klein cut you from my memory. So you are this blank space void, and I need to understand you so that way I have complete control. Lots happens with the lady, but like, is it told well, or is it just too much like exposition?
No, it is
lore.
Like enough time is spent on it, but so many more interesting things happen in this episode for this episode. So I'm like, that is there, and I fully anticipate that they will deal with that. But it is not something that I thought much on this episode.
We've been teased since season 2 about the lady as this big antagonist, and you clocked pretty early on that the lady wasn't a Neela, that the lady's something else. And this is the episode in which she's here and she's expressing what she desires, how she's going to achieve those things. And like, what do you make of this like new big bad sci-fi antagonist? Because like, it's what the show is saying. This is the problem.
I'm a little tired. I'm a little tired of the upgrades. It makes so much sense, and it has been building for a really long time. But each season having a new evolution of the big bad and the way that they do it, I'm like, okay, so is the lady really going to be it? Or is there going to be the man?
Klein's the man. You know that. I think an issue had with the lady is it's pure mythology villain. Aneela and Klein were direct personal connective villains to Dutch. Dutch is their spawn. You know what I mean? And the lady is the sci-fi mythology villain.
Which makes it feel like, well, okay, so this is our final stop. Destination, the lady.
This was a big episode, so on our rating system, which is a very big rating system, yum being bad, yum yum being good, no in-betweens.
Yum yum.
Yum yum.
I've said barely a negative thing about this episode. And the things that I've said are gripes. They're not major things. They don't ruin the episode. But I gave this episode a very high praise near the beginning of our discussion, which is that it makes it look easy.
Oh, yeah. There is some quibbles to be had, and I think a lot of them are structural in terms of the series. Like, a lot of the things that we're talking about that we did have gripes with are things that this episode has just made come into focus more that have already been in the show. And so I don't know if that's necessarily a fault with this episode. However, when you actually sit down and just watch this, and then you sit down and think about it, it is riveting. This writer, she knows how to handle so much going on within that 45 minutes. I just want to say, yes, this is a yum yum.
Yum yum.
But this episode is a huge wag of the finger to some of these other science fiction shows that are on that have these episodes that are over an hour long and manage to tell less. Like, we covered Star Trek Starfleet Academy. They had episodes that were like 80 minutes long and nothing happened in them. Like, almost double, like pretty much double the length of this episode. And that's not just exclusive to that show. Like, we had episodes of The Expanse in which they had some longer episodes, and it's like not as much happened in them. So this is a great example of like, this show uses its time very efficiently. And that's something I love about it. Now, Rachel, I see that you're looking down. Your eyes are darting from side to side. You're wondering, what's the name of the next episode? Do you think it's a fun title, Rachel?
Yes.
Do you think it'll be a play on anything?
I think it'll be a reference on something.
Kind of.
Mm.
So, the next episode, I feel the title will inform your predictions or your perceptions of what could be happening next.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Greening Pains. Greening Pains. So that obviously is playing on some certain things.
Growing pains.
Yes. So what do you feel is happening in the 5th episode, the halfway point of this season?
That's really deflated me.
Why?
Because it, like, sometimes I get joy from the dumbness of the titles.
Like this one. Like the one we've just covered the episode of.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Thank you for clarifying, because I was like, clearly not. So I think it will be dealing with the green. I think there's going to be some further impact of the crystallization. I feel like the crystallization is going to shift again.
Yeah.
The state of the green.
Any other thoughts?
I wonder if Davin is going to have to go in. Because he can manipulate the green. So can he make it a liquid? And be able to enter?
So interesting that you took the title and you went in that direction with it too, because like growing pains, that being a play.
The I think it's going to be also about the child and the accelerated growth.
What do you feel about, we talked about the child being born. The child was obviously accelerated growth. They had, what was it, like a 4-month-old, you thought?
Yeah.
So it was a big baby. It was bloody.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually very surprised that they kept it like that.
Yep, they put some makeup and some goo on that baby.
They put some goop on that baby.
Goop up.
They gooped up that baby. But what I was going to say is, too, like, how do you feel about, like, just that choice as well of, like, now there's a baby in the show? You know, like, usually that's a big change up to things. And they've made it, like, a big plot device, but it's also, like, a big characterful thing.
Yes. And it's like, in 2 episodes' time, it could be a fully fledged character for all I know.
It's hanging out with Renesmee, going to school with her. You did ask, is it going to be a Renesmee thing? Like, and I was like, what?
Renesmee was homeschooled, and you know it.
I actually don't. I think she would be going to normal school because she has to meet Jacob at school.
No.
Does he? Oh wait,
he's there when she's born.
Yeah, but they have to meet in a romantic fashion because they're bonded.
No, he's always there. That's part of the thing.
Plus, has he graduated from school? Or are they still all high schoolers in at the end of Twilight?
I think he's a year younger, so no.
Because they graduated in the last one, right? Anna Kendrick gives her monologue.
But I also think he dropped. Like, I think it is that Jacob's dropped out of school at that point.
Well, perhaps one day we'll talk about the Twilight movies properly over on our Patreon. But that is it from us. We're wrapping out now. If you have the means to support the podcast, head on over to Patreon. We have so many things going on over there. We release our content early. We have our reactions to watching Killjoys in full, unedited. And Rachel, what are some things that we've been discussing over on the Patreon?
We went back and watched Deadpool and Wolverine and Alien Romulus because we previously covered franchises that those 2 films belong to. So we did a little update. We have an ongoing adventure with film and television and all sorts of media related to Pride and Prejudice. And that journey is continuing with Austenland next.
Yes, Lost in Austin and Austenland, the double whammy. We are getting through all of that. And yeah, we have so much other stuff that doesn't make it to the main feed. So if you have the means to support, it would be greatly appreciated. If not, you can just leave us a comment. How do you feel about Killjoys, things we've discussed here today? Leave a like, share, subscribe, all of that.
Can't afford an ongoing pledge. We do have the majority of things put up for independent purchase.
Oh yes, that of course as well. But yeah, just
so if
you
there's something
here
specific that you want to hear.
Yeah, you're hungry for our Sherlock takes. Those are some of the earliest. That's the first thing on there, I think, is Sherlock. Oh, that wily old Moffat. Maybe one day we'll do Jekyll. Rachel fears Jekyll, but I'm excited. But that's a debate for another time.
That's another time. Thank you so much for listening. All of you lovely yumlings that are still here at the end of the outro.
The last thing to end this all out on, Rachel, you're the baby expert. They dropped a lot of labor facts in this. And no, not the Labour Party, but the actual giving of birth. And were there any of them that rang true and or ones that rang false? Like they talked about like the little hands, they talked about the temperature drop in the body.
Yeah, that I haven't heard specifically of that, but it makes sense as a physiological response to the experience. Because I know that like heart rate of birthing person and heart rate of person to be birthed matter quite a lot.
Great. And if you had to choose any member of the Killjoys cast and crew, crew is being involved, who would be your birthing partner?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, what kind of mood do you want? Because Pre was helping out in this episode. He had some ice chips to throw at her.
Yeah.
Because he fucking hates her. And then she dinged him in the head and he had to have a ice pack on his head. I really appreciate the ice.
We did not talk enough about Pre in this episode.
He was so pissy. So pissy.
Sorry. Alive or dead?
You could have either. Just in this show.
Because, like, my mind has gone to Porter.
She's high on drugs.
She's a doctor. Mm-hmm. So that's a pro. Having a doctor there the whole time.
She loves sedating you.
She's like, if I want those drugs.
She's pro epidural.
She's gonna deliver.
She's gonna be a big epidural person.
And she'll help me deliver.
Oh yeah.